Hey, this is Avery. I'm doing a medieval combat video review of Bjorn Zenthffeer on the left versus Feia, now and night. But this video is from a couple years ago. In fact, this video review is from a couple months ago. We did a group review, and I had a technical problem that meant it was erased. So I feel pretty bad, and I'm gonna claim a do-over here and attempt to do another video review of this particular video. I can't say I remember exactly everything we said in the analysis, so I'm gonna kind of look at this fresh. So again, this is a little bit older fight in the Kingdom of Caid against His Lordship Bjorn. Whose birthday it also happens to be today, and who's about to step up as a Baron, and now Sir Feia, or Lady Sir Feia. Alright, so let's take a quick look. First off, we see they're both right-handed. Got an arm strap versus center grip shield. Here, Bjorn landed a shot against her helmet, but they're discussing how it doesn't necessarily feel like it was hard enough for a kill. So we called the shot off. Okay, deep offside shot, lots of wraps. Feia's thrown through the center, Bjorn's thrown around the outside a lot. More of those deep offsides and cuts through the center. In this case, I don't quite recall, I think he was saying a relatively light body shot. And I think, yeah, she was saying that the shot that he threw his shield away to wasn't good enough. So he got his shield back, here they go again. Those deep offsides, not quite landing with power. And she waits for the opening. Alright, so let's take a look at this, and we'll go through in slow motion and talk through it a little bit. We'll also talk about SCA combat. So they're doing SCA combat, it's full speed, full power. The entire body, however, is not a target. From the knees down, you're invulnerable, your hands are invulnerable. And otherwise, one hard shot to the arm or leg disables it. You saw that in the fight. One hard shot to the head or body is a killing move. So let's go through some of these exchanges. So pretty good balanced footwork. They're both right leg forward, which gives them the advantage of range at a little bit of a disadvantage for defense. Here we see a nice fake rising snap. So what this is, I've gone backwards. We're going to move forward pretty slowly. Bjorn, you see, step back, lures Feia in to step in. He dips a little bit, gets a pump going. Now you can see him, he's dropping. The hand's coming down, the body's going down, his eyes are probably looking at her leg. That's actually a feint. He's not throwing the leg shot, but because she's coming up, she now feels exposed, drops the shield down, and he actually throws the rising snap to the head. Now she's got some protection against this. You can see while she dropped her shield, she's also got her sword there for defense. So she's covering that whole side, but it's kind of hard to tell because it's between frames. It looks like Bjorn either comes off, like the tip of his thrusting tip comes off her sword, or he manages to shorten the range just enough to get past her hanging sword block. But later on we hear him say that he thinks he mostly hit her with a thrusting tip, and that's probably why it didn't feel like a super hard shot. Did get through though, so benefit of a rising snap. And again, Feia's defense was the appropriate one. She just might have needed to hang the sword a little closer towards him so he couldn't cheat past it. Alright, doing slow motion here. And stable defense. Here, Bjorn is settled down. If we go, this is a great spot for a center grip fighter to be. In the SCA, you're not allowed to push people over. Well, you're allowed to push people over, but you have to let them get back up again. So what looks like perhaps an opportunity for Feia to drive her shield into him. You know, you can't punch someone with your shield in Caid, but you can give them a little shove, especially if it's against the weapon or something like that. But it doesn't give you a whole lot of advantage because she'd have to let Bjorn back up. Meanwhile, if you look, let's go back a little further here. If you look here, it looks as though Feia's legs are exposed with the shield up. But if you pay attention, she's actually maintaining contact with her shield and playing sort of sticky hand with his basket hilt. So if he could get his basket hilt down here, so the blade's this way, and around the edge of her shield he'd be able to throw for that leg. But because she's got the point projected forward, you can see it's sort of touching against his basket. She's maintaining good control. Bjorn throws for the onside headshot or the onside wrap to the head and sees that it's not a valid target, calls it off. Now he's looking for what you'll see is a really tall vertical offside with a hand high. You're going to see him throw this shot a bunch where the blade ends up in this position, so the circle is a basket hilt. And what you try to do is get the sword motion, moving and then back into the body. And you need to have a little bit of a loose grip for that because it's coming in almost directly toward the camera, so it's not directly between the two opponents. He sort of sticks the hand over to the left side of his body and then lets the sword pendulum swing back towards the camera. See there? So it's hard to land that. He's got really good mechanics for it. Elbow comes up, blade turns over, the wrist rotates, now the blade's facing totally away from us, and he's done a good job of pushing the shield over to the opposite side of the body. So he's protecting himself from the counter and getting his shield out of the way, and then throwing here, but it's not quite landing, and it might potentially be landing a little flat as well. So the blade might be pointing to the right instead of towards the camera. So you see him attempt this shot a few times. It's a great shot, hard to defend against. And then here you just see beautiful sword blocks from Feia. She's just trusting that sword defense. The wrap goes right into the sword. Steps in, another hanging block, and that winds her up. Now, if I'm her, personally, what I'm looking to do is rip a shot right down the center, pull that hand down, and throw between the shield and Bjorn's sword. She looks like she converts it over to a snap to the head instead, which is, his shield's got that for defense. Now he's stepped in, and they're core in tight. Now, Feia lands a shot here on the leg. You can see Bjorn's got his defense up. He's kind of blind. And that's when she throws that first shot for the leg, and he's throwing that pendulum shot for the offside body again, and that looks again like it might be coming in just a little flat, so it might need a little more wrist rotation to come in on edge. And then as soon as that motion's done, Bjorn's taking the leg shot. Now here Feia's got a great reverse, and if you look at how corked up she is, the sword is totally behind her and is set to throw a really strong offside shot. So basically the sword's going to, it's a little hard to draw, but spin around all in a plane to throw an offside there, nice and hard. And I think it's Bjorn's movement to the side that sort of saves him here. Otherwise she might have been able to knock his defense away. But he actually gets the body shifted over to the right, bam, and you can see the amount of flex in Feia's sword. We actually catch it between frames, so that's a hard shot. But there's not a lot she could do to hit him because of that body shift other than move her shield out of the way. And here's where we see one of the big differences between a center grip and a heater. She can't really move her own shield out of the way because she can't really move her elbow that far away from her shoulder. So it's fixed to her arm. She doesn't have the flexibility to move it entirely out of the way. So I don't know there's a lot of ways she could have protected herself. At this point, if I'm Bjorn, I'm thinking it's time to attempt to throw a wrap and hit with the back edge of my own blade to the back of her leg. Right, and it looks like that's actually, that's actually what he threw, right? So her shield's there for the defense. It looks like you can see when he hits her shield and knocks it away. Might be trying to double up on that wrap, maybe? And here they're continuing to rotate and fight around each other. He goes for the high wrap. That one's tough to land from your knees. And you can see actually the amount of body motion it takes. So he's torqued his body. Take a look at what happens to the lower half of his body as he, I can't quite get that spotlight there, but take a look at how far the lower half of his body moves with his momentum when he throws that wrap. He almost comes off the ground with it to try to get up there. She throws that same big uncorking offside. See that big rotation? So that's the same shot we saw before, but you can see it beautifully from the side here. Start here, it's hanging all the way down, rotate, straighten the arm, turn the wrist to get the blade on, and bam. Now he's got the double defense in this case against it, and you can see she's moved her shield a little further out of the way. So this time he's got his sword and his shield up to block it, and she steps right in. This is just a time up. That's a flat shot to the shield. Probably just keeping him busy and masking that step in she makes with the right foot. Now he's looking to throw the offside as well. You can see him even come out the back of his shield like, oh yeah. Now in this case, I don't think it lands. There's a better chance of it landing if he threw it in one beat instead of two. So from here you throw directly into the offside while her sword's still out. There's a chance of catching her before the defense is there. Instead you see him go here to wind up and then torque. And then the last thing is, this is a good motion, but right at the very end it looks like it's robbed of power. So it hits with the tip. There's a couple things going on. One, it hits with the thrusting tip, which is usually made out of foam, into the leg, and it's a plate leg. On fabric over plate is going to be slippery in the first place. Second, it looks like she gets her shield contact on it with a bit of body rotation. But you can sort of see it just sort of stops there. It's not driving through. And then if you look at the hand motion in particular, you see that when it rotates, it finishes rotating and then it pulls away a little bit as opposed to driving in. So I think it's got contact, but he's whipped the shot out, and instead of projecting it through the target, it's just projected at the surface of the leg. So I don't think it lands very hard. Now he winds up and tries to throw it again. And again, you just see this little bump, and the hand is bouncing back as the tip is going forward. Now in this case, that recovery with the sword is an awesome hanging defense against the wrap. I think if Feia had thrown a little deeper here and gotten, say, well, a lot deeper, she'd gotten her hand to here and the blade over here, I think Bjorn would have had a harder time blocking the deep wrap. Now, I think it looks like she takes this one. This particular shot might also be a little flat. So maybe it landed hard enough. And that shot from Bjorn's a beautiful wrap, and Feia's actually saved by the fact that she dropped. So that probably would have corked her in the head if she was still standing there and hadn't defended. Now we get some swords crossing, and they're continuing to rotate around. They're both trying to get good rotation. Here it looks like Bjorn actually, this is where she's got the third time we see her throw that like uncorking offside, but Bjorn's moved out of the way, and you can see it pretty much misses. It goes right through the target, so tags him probably with the thrusting tip. He's already dropping the shield to switch hands, and I think she says, no, that just skimmed off of you. So here we go again. We see Bjorn's going for that high wrap around the shield edge a couple times, and here we actually see some contact. Again, not landing hard. He's getting that deep body offside he really wants, but it's coming in sort of flat, and it's still just the tip. So if you could get the hand forward just a little bit more, and you can see, I think the red is the edge, so it's coming in a little flat. So it's just a matter of getting, I think the trick is going to be rotating the elbow up and out a little bit further. So the elbow ends up coming high, and that allows the hand to drive down a little bit more and cut more on edge. So right now you can see the hand is above the elbow. That's a little tricky to tell, but there's the hand. The elbow's back there. I think if you were to swap those two and get the elbow high and the hand just a little below, maybe, you'd be able to bury that harder into the body. And here you see this nice, this motion right here, this winds up nicely as long as you don't overcork. Now you've got all of that rotational energy stored up in your forearm that you can then uncork, right? But again, it looks like it's throwing flat and just at the edge of range, right? Like if you look where, to me it looks like this has really good power is bam, about there. So it looks like the power is being projected to about here, and then all of this is just follow through diminishing power, and by the time it makes contact, it's not really landing hard. It's a beautiful shot, and it's getting the opening. It's the fourth time it's made contact, I think. But so far only the one was called. Now in this case, I think we see the same uncorking offside we've seen from Feia a couple times here. This time not thrown that hard. Just sort of bouncing off the elbow, and you can see it bounces down at a funny angle while Bjorn's moving, so I don't think it lands very hard. Perhaps because she got tagged in that side of the body at the same time, even if lightly. And here, this is a good spot for Feia. One of the strengths of having an arm strap shield is literally that it's harder to move around. I'm tempted to say if she were to do a little dip with the tip of her shield, kind of like a left uppercut, she could get under Bjorn's center grip and jack that sucker aside. Center grip shield's always going to be weaker than an arm strap shield, so she might be able to do some shield manipulation here. But I think she's just playing a bit of sticky hand to get a good sense for where it's at. Can't really tell what's going on here. I think Bjorn is maybe throwing a body shot and Feia moves the shield. Here you can see she's got her elbow outside his heater and she's waiting for a chance to throw that same offside. Doesn't see it. One opening we do see here as Bjorn starts to lean is in the body here. So again, this is all happening really quickly, but one potential opportunity, much like I said, like a left uppercut with that shield, if you were to do a left uppercut with the elbow right now of the right arm, sorry, a right uppercut of the right elbow, she could get her shield, she could get her elbow under Bjorn's shield to manipulate it a little bit and then get the space, kind of just pop the shield a little bit and then throw down into that body. This is close. This is the wrap that Bjorn's been going for. You can see it bounces off the shield though, so just not quite getting there. And she's still looking for the opportunity to throw, playing a really good defense. Here she's got the double block up, which is good. So because Bjorn's body is pressed up against hers and the shield is sandwiched in the middle, it's tabled the shield flat between them. So she can't really rotate the shield back to block that wrap. So brings the hanging scorpion sword defense over for the block. Beautiful. And here you can see now that she's able to get it up and out from in between them, she can rotate the shield around a ton. He calls off the shot. Now she's looking for that offside again. She rotates it this time though. So this is the way that Bjorn's actually thrown this. She's throwing a shot that's going to end up more vertical than, you know, to the head. Pretty much the same mechanics as him. Again, you can see the hand higher than the elbow. And as he brings the shield down to look, that's when she uncorks. So she throws, let's go back to this and we'll just watch it in slow-mo. Bam, shield comes down, bop. So that's a pretty classic combo. It's really easy to cork the offside-onside combo like that. Even from your feet, this is a nice natural return. So it's a tricky spot. I don't do a ton of knee fighting and I don't do a ton of center grip fighting, so I'm not 100% sure the right thing for Bjorn to do, but we've seen Feia do a couple hanging sword guards here. So I think if you're going to bring the shield down, he might be trying to protect the body against a second onside, but bring the shield down and across the body to protect it. Sorry, my language is failing me. He might be concerned about a second follow-up shot to this side. So as he brings the shield down, instead of bringing it straight down, perhaps bring it diagonally across and then do a hanging sword block to ward against any headshots. Alright, so really good fight, really good defense. You can see a little bit of a strategic difference in the fight. You know, Feia was definitely looking to wait and see, looking for a couple good bread and butter shots in there whenever the opening presented itself, playing a more defensive game but not giving ground. And Bjorn setting up for his favorite bread and butter shot, sort of taking the initiative. So we also see a good interaction between a sort of wait-and-see counterpunch and someone looking to not exactly combo into their favorite shots, but with strong openings and just trying to get past the defense. So at any rate, again, my apologies that the first time we did a review of this video, it got deleted. Hopefully this version manages to export correctly. If you have any feedback, comments, or questions, if you have any videos that any high-quality fighting videos that you would like us to review, or if you have any insights on this particular video, just leave a comment in line. And if you're enjoying these, I've got a bunch more medieval combat video reviews on my channel, as does Sir Helgi on his channel. So just do a search for medieval combat video review. Bye.